Happy Sunday. Welcome back to Retake the Week. What the hell was that all about? It's been it's been a huge week. I said it on the double swing. I titled it this way. The season starts here. Like, it's all well and good, EWC, blast groups. Those are cool. But Cologne, man, it's all been leading up to this, and what a week it was. I mean, the playoffs have been fantastic. The groups had their drama. But before we get into all that, let's start off by doing what we have to do, and that's promoting the things that need promoting. So, of course, this show is made possible by my members. Currently, the 14th episode of Retake the Week Behind the Scenes is being uploaded for members only. Members also get access to the monthly Q&A, where you get to ask questions of us on any topic. They get access to prospect demo reviews. I still love that I haven't changed the graphic. So that is also still up there if you want to go watch that. There's also interviews with certain players and I think staff members from behind the scene. And I'm sure I'm missing out something, but that should be enough. Quacke, I believe you have a show to promote as well.
Yes, we dropped another episode of Lead Speak last Wednesday, or this Wednesday, which was with Pita. It was a 2-hour chat with Pita, which was amazing. I thought it was going to get cut down into a 2-parter, but then eventually we ended up just putting up the whole thing, which was just a better idea. Yeah, it's an amazing chat. He tells some amazing stories. Like he tells about when he moved to America with CLG, and when he his relationship with Michael Lele and Woxic. He talked about when he joined NIP and all of the management issues there. He spicy shit, to be honest. When he was with Flames, he spoke very highly of Hooksy. When he left FaZe, that was apparently a whole deal. He is very dramatic when he played with Dignitas, that RMR event. Some of you might remember, and it was an amazing talk, and he didn't leave. It was amazing because we skipped a lot of topics around Pita and his career, which we knew that he's either talked about them before, we don't retread the same ground, or we just really didn't think about it until afterwards. And still, we managed to squeeze 2 hours of chat out of it, and it's all quality, it's all good. You should watch it. Just search for Lead Speak Pita, and it should show up. You might need to scroll, otherwise it's probably pinned on my Twitter.
Yeah, just go to Quest Twitter. I think it's the fastest way to do it. I've watched the entire listened to the entire thing. I was in the gym. I was going to start staring at my phone. But I was listening the entire time. No, really interesting. Obviously, certain comparison he makes between Hooksy and a certain basketball player are patently absurd, but I get why he made them. And it's just on paper, it seems hilarious. I remember I did leave a comment on the Reddit post, I think. To that effect. But no, it's a really interesting insight. Some really spicy ideas, like the CLG signings. I think was also pretty cool. Who they were trying to get at one point, trying to essentially Nico was the one that was yo, Nico and that CLG would have been crazy. This is Mouse Sports Nico. That'd have been nuts.
And it wasn't like oh, he's going and then he pulled out. It was more like he was thinking about it. He had other offers as well, but in the end, it was close enough where Nico wanted to work with Pita, to the point where when he declined CLG, they instead offered Pita to come to Mouse Sports. It was still a close enough thing where he was properly considering going to CLG to work with Pita at that point. This was 2016, 15, 16.
In those senses,
yeah, we talk about Tony is really good at that sort of roster move history, especially early on, because he has a huge list of transfers which never happened. And Nico to CLG is one of them. So he pulls these out during the episode sometimes when we're talking about when we talked to Robin, it was the same thing. Next episode in 2 weeks, it's going to be another Wednesday. Well, 2 weeks from whatever date this Wednesday was.
Yeah. Do we have a first preliminary hint, or is it all coming soon?
No, this is a fairly unknown person. This is more going for quality of the chat, but I'm most excited about this one. It's an interesting one, but I think this is going to be more you kind of have to watch the first ones, get into the show, and then you watch this one. I think that's going to be a little bit what this one is going to be.
Okay, well,
more so than the guests themselves pulling viewership.
Yeah, I mean, I know who it is. It's the one I've been looking forward to the most. But let's wrap this up, and let's move on to, obviously...
It's not. That's in another 2 weeks.
That's another... Fuck me, who is this one then? Oh my god.
I'll tell you.
Don't make me wait for the one interview I want. Just release the one I want.
I could send it to you if you want to hear it. I could.
No. It's got to be in the moment. It's got to be in the moment.
All right.
So I can promote properly. But no, let's wrap it up. Let's start talking about it. Cologne this week, and hold on, Quack. I need to check something. I'm just nothing there. Yet for some reason, all the comments from G2 fans have stopped. Even with binoculars, I can't find them. They've sprinted so far into the distance and shut the fuck up that I just can't find them. It's weird how they got into the big stage, played real teams in a game that mattered, and they had no plan B.
Yeah.
Isn't it strange? But before we get too overexcited about that specific aspect, I think we should recap some of the earlier events of the tournament, just quickly talk about the groups, some of the bigger upsets. I do believe we covered the G2 Spirit match last week. No, we talked about it coming up. It hadn't actually happened yet. It happened after our show. I was even on a live stream with Thorin to do do a little watch party sort of thing for it. And that was honestly, the worst game of Counter-Strike I've ever seen Spirit play. And I'm not just talking about individuals, I'm talking about game plan. This is something that I've been sort of harping on about this week in terms of tweets about T-Side's approach to playing G2. And Spirit did everything wrong, especially seeing as they got to play them on Nuke, a map Saw had already demonstrated how to beat them on. And they did nothing that Saw did. So for those who missed the Saw game, Saw pressured A with heavy executes, full rushes, like I'm talking 5 players coming out, really well done on a couple of occasions. They also, outside, abused one of Nico's most obvious tendencies that he hadn't even fixed by the Spirit game. He hadn't changed it, he was still doing this. When the smokes fade outside, Nico is going to be in the open looking to fight you. Saw, it looks like a mistiming. No. They have 3 dudes staring at the smoke as it fades, looking for Nico. It happened twice. Spirit never made any use of that. Didn't rush A, except for one attempt to get Zontix out of the door. Nothing else. So yes, I was frustrated watching the rest of the group stage as it went on. Because not only did Spirit find 0 counterplay on Nuke, they also got stomped on Mirage. But Astralis only really applied similar theories to the Mirage game. On Mirage, they actually rushed A. They took heavy mid-control with multiple players. They didn't sit around. The other 2 maps they did. So it was frustrating, but finally they got to a game where just being good players wasn't good enough. They actually needed to do something more. And Mouse beat them convincingly, so that was great. The other group, was there any real big upsets in the other group? I mean, Mouse, Vitality, and FaZe got through. Are we shocked?
No, it's pretty much as expected. I'm going to double check that. I think VP going out last to Falcons is a little bit of a surprise, but also VP are kind of in free fall, so not exactly crazy. No, not a huge deal. Falcons put up a decent showing, I think. They put up close maps against the FaZe. They won a map against Mouse. Probably could have won that game as well with the lead they had on Ancient, but Mouse kind of just took it over. Beat VP. I mean, yeah, some pretty close games. It's not where they want to be, but it's together with the second place and Challenger at the end of last season. It's probably a step in the right direction, I think, for Falcons. But that's the only sort of slightly unexpected thing I can see out of this group. The big thing happened in the other group, in the playoffs.
Yeah, the thing is with the Falcons one is losing to Mouse is expected. They played fairly well in that series, considering how they've played in the past, but they should have lost that game. Yeah. Virtus Pro losing to Complexity, I said it after it happened. Is anyone who's actually been watching Counter-Strike surprised? This felt like a coin flip going in, and seeing as how they played here, it was even less than that. But even on their form, just from the last event, this was a coin flip match for me. And yeah, they lose that, go down and play Falcons, at which point, anyone's game as well. Like, they've gotten that much worse that that's now a coin flip. They lose it. And yeah, Falcons have probably their best event with this lineup in terms of the quality of the event, the actual Counter-Strike they played. I was fairly impressed.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously shouldn't have beaten Mouse, but I remember they had a lead on Ancient on the final map where I think they pulled out a bunch of rounds in a row where they brought it up to like a 9-7 lead. But then, yeah, they won 4 in a row at the start of the T side to take it up to 9-7. But then Mouse just kind of took it over and took 6 rounds in a row. I think those were pretty damn close as well, if I remember correctly. Like, Mouse had to really put in some work to win that map. So then it's like a sort of entirely different thing if that doesn't happen. But yeah, expected, of course. Much closer than I expected it to be. Yeah.
Yeah, good performances from Magus. In the game they won against VP, We actually got like a Madden, some players better than we expected. Snappy stepping up, not the most conventional way for them to win with Snappy dropping a 1.2, but generally the players you'd like to see at the top for them were at the top. But no, that kind of brings us to the playoffs. Let's just quickly talk about these games. Mao's G2, as I said, went as expected. Saw beating FaZe, that was a surprise.
Yes.
Not so much that Saw could take their own map pick. I think between Mutiris' calling and Berry's coaching and prep, they have an incredibly strong foundation on the maps they want to play. Like, when they pick a map, they're going to go in with a good game plan. They're going to execute. This is Inferno. They didn't actually pick this. This was an upset. That was a real upset. The fact that they couldn't close it out on Anubis, I think, was a shame. But Nuke, yeah, they got a map they wanted. They won it in overtime. They played a similar style that they did against G2, but I think they desperately needed Arosdosh and Udrex to play the way they did, like hit the shots they found, like make plays, and it was incredible. I mean, at the end of the series, we saw some comps, people being like, oh, it's the Fur Cold Zero of Portugal. Calm the fuck down. But considering the impact they were able to have across that series, I mean, you saw it on Inferno as well. They had to be huge. Hit their shots, and they did. So no.
Yeah.
Great anti-prep on Inferno to get them there. Again, executed their Nuke game plan to a high level. And yeah, made the upset happen. Really impressive.
Yeah, after that, like after the FaZe game, they had every Nuke they played for the entire event. They didn't actually play it a single time in the play-in, which might be a factor. Maybe there's no prep, like people didn't have any prep against them. But every time they played Nuke, they won, and they beat G2, Mongols, Navi, and FaZe on Nuke so far, and then they lost to Vitality, which is that's a pretty crazy resume, like with those teams for a team like Saw to beat on even just one map. But they did it. Yeah, great upset. I think the Mouse G2 thing, I mean, it's an expected win for Mouse, I think. But I think G2, maybe we should touch on the fact that G2 did play a very good lower bracket run, even against some tough teams. Because they did have the Stomping Spirit. They did have very, very convincing wins against Astralis. It was just the one map on Mirage. The rest were 13-1, 13-3.
Yeah,
and then,
that was diabolical, yeah.
Yeah, and then an expected stomping of pain. Like they did have a pretty good recovery to make playoffs, but then the thing, which is like, because I know that that's going to be like comment fodder for people who want to defend Jisoo, that they still made this like lower bracket run. There was a lot of hype about it at that point. How they kind of turned it around after the Saw thing. The thing is that Mouse have had big problems with playing on big stages this year. This is the first, like that Mouse game is probably the first time. It's the first time in front of a properly big crowd that Mouse performed well. And that was against G2. Like, if they were a good team with the players they have, G2 should have won that 9 times out of 10. But, it's like Shui said, they won it based on calls. Like, that's what everybody said. Shui just won this because...
not Shui, yeah.
Torji, yeah. But like he said, Shui won this with calls. Like they were just calling circles around him because they're so puggy and they do nothing tactical whatsoever. They're a fresh team. They're just playing on feeling right now, and that's what we've been saying. It's gonna work when they play on feeling, but as soon as Snack sits down and has to build a proper playbook, it's gonna fall apart. So
he's had 2 warm-up events like this.
Yeah,
it's fair when some people said I was criticizing their T sides for being dog shit for the first 2 events. The fact they didn't change in the second one at all should have been a red flag. But I got comments like, oh, they're new. They're supposed to have their T-sides figured out on every map. It's like, well, eventually they do. And it can't just be shit, magically perfect. And as we saw here, it was just still shit. So, no. I mean, what the most shocking thing was on that Mirage map. Like, when Mao's... There are rounds that Mao's lost, where they did everything perfect. Strategically, they did everything perfect. They just then got outshot. Like, they walk into a pretty much deserted B-bomb site. G2 have 4 players, either like mid or A, and they still lose it due to just not being able to hit the shots. G2 were able to pull miracles out to make it this close, and that's kind of alarming, because it wasn't close. So, semi-finals, I thought Mouse Navi would go 3 maps. It's about as close as it can be, without having actually gone the entire way. Like, Inferno goes to overtime. Mirage is all 24 rounds, which still feels wrong to say, by the way. But we got, a great bit level. I didn't watch the games. I said this in the behind-the-scenes segment. I didn't watch this game because I was out all day yesterday, so it was very hard for me, and I haven't had time to go through the VODs. But all I can say, I can talk to the scoreboard and to what I've read from other people. Big bit performance. Close game. I mean, Zertion on Mirage, apparently he's part of the reason why it's so close. But I think Mouse here, maybe Jimmy didn't have the performance he would have liked. Maybe that's the only aspect we can say was not up to snuff. But otherwise, no, they look like a legit team. They just ran into what is currently the best team in the world in terms of the way they play. And potentially, when their players are on, like, they're very hard to beat them. I'm not sure who really can with any consistency. Maybe it'll be Vitality, who are bookies' favourites after, well, they just rampaged over Saw. Like, I believe it was Mutiris said, yes, Vitality were the first team to actually prep against us. I think he's right. Like, they beat them on Nuke 13-6. Apex is the one with, like, the crazy rating at the end of the series. If he's the one finding all the kills, it's because he knows exactly where to look on every play. Like, he takes too many really difficult fights, often to his detriment, to have a good rating. If his rating's that high, he knew exactly what was coming. I think that's the secret, the solution there. That Saw just, they didn't have the individuals to really outfrag a team who could play with them tactically. Like, they just didn't have it. That's a big deficiency they're still going to have to deal with.
I'm not sure who to give the edge here, because I think Vitality being so comfortable against Saw is definitely to their benefit. Nobody else could. I mean, not even Na'Vi were that comfortable against Saw in their group stage game. Still losing a map and everything. But as you said, maybe the other teams just didn't. Maybe they just didn't work too hard on it. They just thought we're gonna roll over them anyway, so we can just take a chill. At the same time, Alexi B also said kind of the same thing. It's like he himself thinks that they need to play better to beat Vitality, which is interesting. Could be true, but that's also something which like makes me favor Na'Vi slightly, because it's like they're not getting complacent here. Like they won't hold anything back. Like they will do the work and keep the streak up, because they played really well. They played extremely well so far this month. And I think finding a good level out of bit has been crucial to that. Emma as well is an MVP candidate.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's something we're not expecting, really. Across the entire event, you don't usually see him that consistent, right? Like, he's not had that many bad maps.
I just had to pause on that for a sec. Yeah, Emma he has basically the same rating as this is the Paris rating. He has basically the same as his Paris major, which is probably the first time since then he has had an event rating like this. So, flip of the switch, I guess. Na'Vi they're starting to build pretty consistent performance out of bit, which was a problem in the first half of the season.
Big one, yeah.
Yeah, that's big. Probably still need a bit more out of Wonderful to, get a grip on the whole season, which is upcoming. But I'd probably still favor Vitality just slightly in this final. But let's see. I mean, Na'Vi will be they will be the best team in the world if they win here.
I mean, they currently are, and then it will be without question. Like, it was already.
Yeah, I think did we talk about this last week or the week before about who was the best team in the world at the moment? And I think we've sort of figured out that it's very hard to split the top split right now, because it's sort of in like a transition point. Like, Na'Vi are on the up, Spirit are on the down. How do we split this? But yeah, this will firmly put them in. Honestly, it might even be enough. No matter what happens for the rest of the season, it might even put them into like best team of the year. Period.
Well, team of the year conversation is interesting because if we just quickly recap, last spring groups, they go out, they get out in first to fourth. They win the group. It's whatever. Cado, they don't make a deep run. That's an issue. They win the Copenhagen Major. They don't make a deep run at Pro League or Dallas. They then finish second at the Blast Premier Spring Final. Think, okay, there's another run. Win the Esports World Cup. I don't care. Don't make it through the full groups in a top 4 spot. They make it through 5th, 6th. A little shaky, but take care of business. But winning Cologne, adding a prestige event to a major, I think no one can really match that unless Spirit win the major. Like, Spirit would have to go win the major. Then Spirit is team of the year. I'm sorry.
Probably, because of Katowice.
They win Katowice, they win that. They win other trophies that are bigger. I think it
going last in Cologne with like such a shit showing as well just kind of speaks against them, though. So it kind of depends on how the other events go. But let's see. I mean, that's going to be an interesting conversation
if they win the major.
Do Vitality have a case if they make Cologne? Like, if they win Cologne? today.
If Vitality win Cologne, yeah, again, if they can win Cologne, win the major, they come into the conversation.
Yeah.
Definitely. But they have to do that. And
yeah,
I was asked for betting advice from a certain friend who's at the event. He asked me for betting advice yesterday. I gave him props, like what I thought. I then looked up, just out of curiosity, what Thorin had picked, and it was the exact fucking same thing, except he'd specifically chosen Mouse to beat Na'Vi. I'd simply said, pick a team, but it's going 3 maps. So that was wrong.
yeah.
But I called the Vitality 2-0 because everyone did. But this grand final, I told him I would take Na'Vi to win because they have such good odds. Like it's 2.1 they're getting right now, which is really good for an underdog team, who I think is a coin flip, probably.
Yep.
And I also said take over 4.5 maps. I think it's going 5. I looked at the map pool. It's murky. I think it's going 5. It's going to be a long day for people trying to watch this game. It's going to be a long day.
Yeah, it's going to be me. I'm working today.
Yeah. Hopefully a good one, though. I think it should be a really good match. But speaking of Cologne winners, I think this is the perfect time to transition onto an idea that we've done in the past and didn't think to replicate until now. Until today on the pre-show, where those of you who are members have already seen the behind the scenes, will know we just go, hang on, didn't we do a draft for Katowice, of Katowice winners, and we didn't do a Cologne one? Well, this is a great time, because there's not a lot of news this week. Honestly, after this, we're going straight to the Eternal Shuffle, because I think that's as little news as there's been. So let's do this. So, the rules, as we laid them out last time. So it's going to be a snake draft. So first pick gets first pick, then 2 picks, 2 picks, 2 picks, and then the final 1 pick for the second picker. You'll see as it goes. We have 5 roles to fill. IGL, aggro rifler, passive rifler, fill rifler, where you can just go wherever you want with it, just so that you're not too limited. And an AWPer. You can only pick a player for your team from each Katowice Cologne winning team. So you can't pick, for example, from 2019, 2 Liquid players from 2019. You have to pick 1 from each. But if a team's won it twice, you can pick from each title-winning roster.
Or a player.
Yes, so for example, it's Simple, who's won it twice. You can pick... I can pick Simple from one of those teams. Quack can pick Simple from the other team. It doesn't eliminate him from being picked again. Same thing with SK, who've won it twice. It's a pretty open-ended draft.
I have just checked now. I think there's only like 8 players who have won Cologne twice. I'm pretty sure. Unless there was an SK roster change in between those wins, but I don't think so.
SK won it with FNX and then won it with Phelps.
Then it's 9 in that case. The other ones are Simple and Electronic and Twists.
Oh, yeah, that's true. The Na'Vi rosters are completely different, the ones that won it, yeah.
Yeah, it was Zeus, Flamey, and Guardian, no?
I think it still was at the time, yeah.
And then it was Bit, Boomich, and...
Oh, no, at that point it was Flamey Edward Zeus alongside Simple.
Flamey Edward Zeus, yeah, but neither of those were there in 21, either way.
All right, cool. Should we get into it? Do you want first pick?
Yeah, let's go for it. Do you know what? I can take second pick, actually. You can go first.
Okay. All right, first pick, for me, it's obvious. It's the greatest player of all time during his absolute peak, despite COVID getting in the way. I'm taking 2021 Simple.
Nice. Yeah, good pick. It was my first pick as well for the op spot.
Has to be.
Yeah. Before we did the thing with like different year versions of players, I actually had a secondary alternate pick for this, which was Munisy from last year, which I think was a good pick. But I have actually gone for... Oh, that's actually a player I've left out entirely. But all right, I have actually gone for Simple 2018. Also obvious.
Yes. Okay.
I think. I don't think you can get a better opera than that out of Cologne champions.
It's a debate. Yeah, you can try and make the case if you want. I wouldn't.
I just don't think so. I think he played a slightly worse level. I think his Cologne event is like the best rated event period for Simple all career wise. Like it's something crazy like that. But for 2021, but 2018 still good.
Okay, 2018 Simple. I mean, he's a bit specifically Cologne. He's not that crazy in terms of his grand final rating, but overall, I mean, this is still primo Simple, prime Simple. Doesn't get better.
Yeah. Now I get the next pick as well, right?
You do, yes.
And
Snake.
For that, I do just have to check something. Oh fuck! I've actually gone. Yeah, I actually do have something, which I kind of wanna. I'm kind of torn on this.
Well, put yourself together.
I think I'm gonna go for 18 electronic, but I'm torn between that and last year's Nico.
You can't pick 18 electronic. You picked 18 simple.
I can. Then I'm picking Nico from last year. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that would have been one
thank
of
you.
pick. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I've just got to keep it within the rules, despite it fucking me. I've got to keep it within the rules.
Yeah. I mean,
so I would have loved that Nico.
Yeah, I think that was the right decision. I think I probably should have picked Mondesi for my upper, but yeah. Now that I'm looking at it, but yeah. Go ahead, it's your turn.
I have 2 picks, and now the 2018 Na'Vi roster is open to me.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. 2018's Electronic. How good is that guy? You know what the answer is?
He won the event pretty much.
Really damn good. I'm taking Electronic from 2018. Just going to fill in my little sheet.
Stats-wise, it's basically the same between him and last year's Nico. So yeah, I think
it's a banger event from him. And then I think an important spot for me at this point, because I think I can get a good option in the other spots. You know what? No, I'm just gonna go nuts, go bonkers on my rifles. I'm gonna go passive rifle at Cold Zero, 2016.
Good choice. Good choice.
That's a 1.37 rated Cold Zero. That's a bananas event.
That is a bananas event. That's a very good pick. I might respond with the same position. And I'm going for. Give me 1 second just to check so I'm not completely fucking on my stats, but I am pretty sure I'm picking the correct guy. Oh, actually, it was kind of mid at that point. I might have fucked up here. I might go for my alternate.
Oh no.
Because I was also
an NIP player. He's gone for an NIP player, 2014, hasn't he?
Yeah. I was gonna go. I can say what I was gonna go for. I was gonna go for Get Right because I felt like, oh, Get Right, like Prime Get Right, that's awesome. Like he's an awesome player, but he didn't actually do that well in this event.
No, it's not one of his best events by a long shot.
No. And I'm not gonna go for Freiburg. So.
Well, the passive AWP, no, passive rifle. No, you can't really go Freiburg.
No. But just like in general. Now. All right. I'm probably gonna go for. I think he fits into this position. Maybe not the perfect one. Maybe not the perfect one, but I think I'm gonna go for 15 Flusha. Is that completely fucked?
I knew it. No, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Because it's okay. We say passive aggressive just to keep it open because it's more fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have another one as well. So I can scratch that. And this is another one. This is another one where I'm not quite sure. But I can't pick from that roster again. All right, so
nope.
At that point, my choice is going to be 22 twists. That's going to be for my fill.
That's your fill.
Yeah, because in 2022, you remember he practically won that event. Like that final, that was twists, and he was top rated that event. I can't remember if he got the MVP. I can imagine he didn't.
Not.
It was
Simple did.
It was probably Simple did. But that final, like, there's the clip out of that, that nuke map, the 5 mapper.
That crazy the outer push. You mean that?
Yeah, and they just. He just won it. Like he was the guy. And he fits pretty well into that fill role as well. So I'm going for it. Yep.
Yeah, so I was worried there for a second. I'm going to be honest, because I also had twists on my mind. Because I think he is the perfect player for the fill spot. I just want to make sure he is who I want to go with. Yeah, he pretty much is. But I'm going to be cheeky. I'm not actually going to go with him. I am going to go with a liquid player from 2019 for my fill rifler. But I'm going to take a Liege. The roll is wide open.
Yeah.
A Liege 2019 is a monster. That's prime Liege. I think I have the greatest. It's not actually the greatest rifle core assembled if you had no limits, but without having access to Nico, I don't think it gets much better than this. I don't see how you can do better than that. And finally, for my IGL spot, which I've left open, and thankfully, I have free reign at this point. Like, I can go wherever I want with this. I could even take Hooksy from 2023, but funnily enough, I won't, because I think there's better options. I don't like Fallen 2017. I don't think that's a great pick, just because I already have an AWPer, and Fallen on a rifle is ugly. Pronax 2015 would be an idea. I don't vibe too much with the Swedish IGL philosophy. So I kind of just have to go with probably the GOAT. I guess I'll settle for the GOAT. Carrigan 2022.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I can't even pick him to begin with because I picked Twists. I was between there. Should I save the 22 pick for Kerrigan, or because I had another option. Now that the roster is finished, I had another option for the fill rifle, which was 15 crims.
You did, yeah. That's an option as well.
Which also kind of would have banged. But then I would have had to, give up Flusha.
Yeah, that's god tier Flusha, that event.
Yeah, the other one I was maybe trying to make a case for is 19 NAF, but it wasn't too hot on that event. And it was probably more Twists who was the fill either way. Yeah, IGL. Now, all right. So my alternate was actually 16 Fallen, but I'm not sure if that's the move. I'm not even sure what else I have available to me.
You have Pronax? No, you don't. You picked over that.
I don't have Pronax. I have Exist. Was there a Cologne in 2013? No, there wasn't.
You have Nitro from 2019.
Yeah, I mean... you. I don't have a 21 pick. Boomage 2021. Like, does Blade come with that package?
No, we're picking IGLs here. We're not picking coaches. We should have probably included a coach, but it's fine.
I mean, look, if we're talking IGL performance at the event, surely Blade's system is a factor in it.
Okay, I'll allow it. So I've technically got whoever Carrigan has an IGL as a coach in 2022. If he was,
that was Robin.
It's still going to be Robin. Yeah, I don't know why I had to think about that. It's probably still Robin at that point.
Do I have any other picks? I've already gone 23. I've already gone. So I mean, Hooksy. If I was going to go for that, I can't go Pronex. I don't want to go Exist. I can't go Zeus. I can't go Kerrigan because you picked him. I don't want to go Fallen, who hogs 2 of the spots selfishly.
Find a solution.
Yeah, we'll go for 21 Boomage just for the hell of it. Yeah, 21 Boomage. So you've got 21 Simple, 18 Electronic, 16 Colzera, 19 Elige, and 22 Kerrigan.
Yeah.
That's a nice team. Even today, that's a pretty nice team.
That's it.
Yeah. And then I have 18 Simple, 23 Nico, 15 Flusha, 22 Twists, and 21 Boomage. I think I got kind of fucked over in the IGL department, but I think up to that point, I was pretty damn close.
That's a far more balanced than I think some ones you've had in the past, where you've taken Swedes for no right reason other than you love them, and it kind of screwed you in terms of actual roster quality. But no, that's a fairly good draft. We'll let it be up to the viewers to decide who they prefer. But yeah, that's a pretty cool draft. I mean, some of these teams you look back and like Cologne was won by, because it was a major for a while. Also, straight up, it was won by some great rosters like the SK that dominated for 2 years, 2 versions of Na'Vi. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So no, really fun event to draft for.
Yeah, that was good. That's probably better than the Katowice one.
Yeah, because the Katowice one got a bit awkward for you.
Yeah.
I remember it. It wasn't that great a result.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the Eternal Shuffle, because there are some roster moves. None of them particularly big. Not for the Tier 1 viewers out there. You're not going to know about most of these guys. The biggest one is the first one, which is the Monty move. Cutting Stiko and bringing in Key. A bit of an odd one for me, because I thought, we're going from a true support to a guy who historically I think has been best outside of those roles. But at least it does move them all over apparently to a Polish-speaking roster, which I think is an odd detail given that Demka's still there. And
LMBT. Navrot is actually not head coach, he's just assistant. But I mean, yeah, is that gonna stay that way? I don't know. It's it's kind of weird. Apparently Demka speaks some Polish. I have heard that Polish and Ukrainian, especially in West Ukraine, is pretty similar. And in terms of vocabulary, it's basically like the same word spelled a bit different, sort of like Scandinavian languages. Even to the point where like Russian words, like the same word in Russian is completely different from Ukrainian. So like apparently there's a lot of similarities there. So it might not be too difficult to pick up Polish over a couple of weeks if you are already Ukrainian, especially if you already speaks a little bit. So maybe that something that could work. I think it's a strange move. It's a very strange move if like the long-term plan is to replace the Ukrainians. Then it's a very, very strange move, since Demka has been so good for this team, and I think LMBT has probably put in a lot of legwork as well, given the fact that this team has never had an IGL proper. So probably LMBT has been a big part in that factor. Like everybody who led this team was a first-time IGL at some point. So, or more or less.
LMBT's got such a pedigree as well. Like he made that Mouse roster. Like he was on that for like 3 years, won 4 cups. Like sure, Carrigan comes in and helps a lot, but he's here working with these guys. He's got all that experience. Gets Monty to a level no one expects. Like despite having been in the weeds for years, forced to play with, for example, Tokyo Revengers. Like he's made one hell of a comeback with Monty, and made them a legit squad. So I think it'd be really silly to cut the Ukrainians.
Yeah, but if it can work in Polish, that's going to be awesome. It's awesome players. It's very good players. I think compared to the previous roster with that was kind of struggling to keep together. Like if you compare this Polish majority roster to the prior good Monty roster, which was the one with SDY and Bro and War 2K, I think this is fine. Like pound for pound, War 2K and Hades, it's probably edged out for Waro.
In theory,
but
it is. The problem is Waro's been on this team, was such a big deal, big game player. He did so much so well for them. So I think it's hard for Hades to ever replace that, even if he does try to take the calling reins as well.
For sure.
I don't actually think it can quite line up, but the fact that you still have Demka, who has been, the most. He started as one of the most underrated riflers on Monty. The only person tooting his horn at that time was Yumi, actually, just on the double swing, constantly bringing up Demka, and he's since then proven him entirely correct. It's been an incredible find for this roster.
Yeah, but like pound for pound Diha for Bro, I suppose I'd say that's an upgrade. And
if Diha can play good, unlike
if Diha plays like Diha, then sure.
Yeah. Like the end of the
and then
rough.
Yeah, and then key for SDY. SDY probably wins, but
downgrade.
It's not a huge downgrade. I think Key is a good player. He's
just so good at tier 1.
Oh yeah, he was. But I mean,
Key
has been a good player for periods of his career, but he's kind of fallen in and out because of contract bullshit. I think 9 locked him into a really big, expensive contract with ridiculous buyouts, like hundreds of thousands of dollars for Key, which is obviously nobody wanted to buy him. So he's kind of fallen out since the Paris Major, where they, that's where they shun. But yeah, it's an interesting move. I wonder where Stiko can even land after this. But somewhere, I suppose.
I mean, there's always a spot for him, even if it's not as a player, honestly. I'm not sure necessarily coaching, but as an analyst, he's always got a spot. I think he's a really diligent guy. On a team that needs a support, obviously that's where his ideal would be. I'm not really sure he should be, personally. But, hey, he's got a spot in esports and competitive esports.
Yeah.
No matter that role, he's got a spot. So,
I think based on what he said, based on what it sounded like, he kind of said that he was he needed a break. It was maybe more that he was leaving more than Key was coming in, but which triggered the move. But he has a spot for sure.
Right. So yeah, that's the biggest one. The next moves are Amcal of Cut Stime, who was pretty fresh to the team, wasn't he? Am I going crazy?
About a little over a year, maybe.
He joined
maybe half a year. Half a year.
In April. So yeah, not long at all, 4 months. So I thought,
he was good.
Bit of a blank. I mean, he's not been that great on Amcal. He's been good in past, but
he was really good on Sprout.
Yeah, that's his brief stint on Sprout got him this position, basically. But the more interesting part of this is there's no one listed coming in yet that I know of. So
I heard a rumor who it is, but I'm not going to say. I did say it in the behind the scenes segment. That's actually a pretty interesting player. So makes Amcal maybe back to the sort of half dangerous level we thought they had before.
Yeah, the members will know who that is, and they'll know him pretty well. So that's interesting. And the final move is such an odd one. Aurora and 9 Pandas have swapped Resalt and Clax. What the hell's all this about?
No idea. It just popped up. I saw it on HLTV, the article. I completely missed it, and I have no idea why. I don't know. Aurora said something. Let me see. Let me just read out this quote. I'm only just reading this. In their announcement on X, Aurora suggested they had initiated the move, going on to state that they had done so because, quote, it's important that every member of the team is not only an excellent player, but also behaves in the most respectful manner towards the club and their teammates. So maybe Result has fucked something up.
What has Result tweeted? Or more likely
nothing. He's Russian.
Telegrammed,
Yeah.
They all have accounts, but they never use them if they do.
Result is great. Like he put up a 117 for Aurora. So I mean, it's obviously not performance rated if they wanted to cut Result, because he has just been an amazing player. Like yeah, we picked him before for a reason, for prospect of the week and stuff. He's crazy. Clax as well, decent player, but yeah, he's obviously. I don't think he stacks up to Result in the same way. But who knows?
Not in recent times, no. He's been.
Yeah, I mean
a little worse.
If it is the fact that Result has fucked something up, like, he's leaving because he said some shit or, acted in some way which Aurora didn't really agree with, he's kind of failed upwards, I think, because he's, between him and Clax, I think, or between Aurora and Nine Pandas are getting an upgrade, and Aurora getting a downgrade, and yeah, I mean, Result and Shalfie, they played together on Forza, which was a really good team. They both played really well. So if anybody knows how to, properly activate Result on another team, it's going to be Shalfie.
This Nine Pandas roster keeps getting more interesting though. Like, if you think about it, they still got Dealades, they still have Shalfie. They just brought in Result.
Yeah,
they have. I mean, Idis Balance for me has always been a bit of a. Yeah, he's there. CIS Orpa. Yeah, he's fine at tier 2. That's always the problem. Like, if I want to build my team into tier 1, I don't really need to hang on to Idis Balance.
Yeah,
that's not really.
He replaced FPS as the Opper, and he's an upgrade over
at
him.
That point is fair, but
yeah,
no, I still think he's probably the last upgrade if you're going to make one. But at the same time, this team is really solid. Hopefully, they can start making their way up as well. They're doing really well in Challenger League. I think they're 4-3 in terms of their matchups. I'm not sure where that puts them in the actual standings. It's missed playoffs. Damn. No,
4-3. How the fuck can you be 4-3 in a 6-team group? Let me see.
Probably because they've played a playoff game. I'm just not seeing it.
Nine Pandas are. It's this stage 2 thing.
Yeah, they're in the medium seed group.
They're in the medium seed. They do have a chance at playoffs if they win that upper final, I think.
Yeah, they beat Parivision. Yeah.
Let me see. The first and second place teams in the medium seed group go to playoffs. So if they win today, or if they win the consolidation final, if they win on Tuesday versus Parivision, they will make playoffs, and then they also have the consolidation final versus either Sinners, Arcred, Rushby, or Bait. And I think Nine Pandas should win all of those except for Bait, which is a bit of a coin flip, I think.
3 of those 4 CIS teams. My God. The tier 2 space has so many of these really good Ukrainian and Russian teams at this point.
I mean, let's be honest, the European teams are all in the high seed group. Like, they didn't have to play this. They didn't have to slog through this medium seed group stuff. Like, they just went straight to the high seed, and now they're going to playoffs. So, yeah.
Some of them.
I think all of them in the high seed group actually go to playoffs. So, I think, yeah.
Wait, so, there's lower brackets, that's why.
Yeah, like, Saw, Sashi, TSM, Aurora, Zero Tenacity, Sangal, Nemiga, 3D Max. That should be locked in for playoffs, I think.
And the low seed group,
that's literally just playing for hanging on. It's just hanging on.
In Celio, there's so many of these teams.
Eyeball is gonna fall out. They are, because they are
probably they're not very good.
Dog water. They're dog water right now. They do not. They will not beat. They will not beat Betera, and they will not beat the loser of Kiang Rebels. So, good luck, eyeballers in advanced. They're 2 games away from advanced. That's crazy to say.
I'm not surprised. Right. Prospect of the week. We both had some discussions pre-show as to who we're actually going to take here, because it was a weird week. Not too many big games, I think, for tier 2, like the big usual suspects. It was nice to actually, for once, look at a list of applicable young players and not see the same 3 names that I always see. Noseifen this week. Just the most common example, the guy I'm always ended up going to. But I'm going to start with my pick. I went with Ken Caesar, who is such a... Okay, he's a wild talent. Like, because he puts up crazy numbers, cool, and he's aggressive, yeah, whatever. But he does it, for example, this week with 70% headshot, and you're like, no one's really doing this right now. Like, no one is, and I don't get how he's doing it, because I've not watched too much of his CT play, I think, is the problem, which is where the mystery probably gets solved. Because obviously with an AK, he's crazy, like absolutely bonkers. And he's only 18, which is the most impressive part. Playing on this roster called, they're called Kono? Yeah, Kono now.
Kono, officially Kono ECF, but
yeah,
through some weird thing, HLTV doesn't display sponsors, and I think ECF might be like a sponsor or something. It's some strange thing about how we name our teams at HLTV.
Yeah, because he was previously on a team known as just ECF with the same logo. Now it's Kono. So yeah. This roster, some names you'll know if you follow lower levels, like Amster, BA9, or however that's supposed to be pronounced, and Salt, now Saltovsky.
Before it was guys, for a while it was just S4.
Yeah, S4.
Yeah,
when he was an AWPer, famous for DPR farming. And no, Kenzie's massive impact on this team. He's the guy who makes them actually relevant. Honestly, he's been on the poll for members to vote for as a prospect before. The last poll, the one that ended up picking MPL, didn't get voted for that time, didn't receive a single vote. To be fair, there's a lot more members now. So next time he's on a poll, maybe he'll get a few votes. We'll see. But Beast 18, another Ukrainian kid that's storming through the lower ranks.
Yeah, good pick. It's something interesting about this team is actually that the core of Beer 9, S4, and Amster, their lineage goes all the way back to EC Kyiv.
That team.
In 2020-ish, 2021, which eventually got turned into IKLA, which eventually signed a European mixed roster, whereupon this Ukrainian roster got moved to like a second team, like a second IKLA team. And then they got
no longer a part at that point, but yeah.
But he came back. He's back on Kono. So yeah, it's like they've just kind of stuck together, and grinded it out in tier 2, I guess. But Kenzie's is kind of new to this. Actually, no, he was even there in IKLA. Great player. I've seen him on stat sheets everywhere. He's like, I think I asked you like last week or something. I asked you like, have you ever looked at like a Kenzie's demo? And he was like, he's definitely. And I had to tell you,
he was on that poll as well that you voted in.
For sure. But you probably also put a Swede on that poll, and I didn't look at anything else.
No, you voted. I think you voted for. God damn,
Josie?
Who was it?
Spook?
No. Neither one of those guys were on it. I'll let you know. List your do your pick, and then I'll tell you.
My prospect is Freiburg. No, it's actually ex-Kaspersky. It's the Polish kid on Young Ninjas, who also, like, I'm a big fan of these players who kind of just come out of nowhere and then make it really, like, they just really hit the ground running immediately. Where ex-Kaspersky, he was nobody by the new year. He got picked by Blame F for like one to watch, which might have been a very smart play. Which was basically just that, like, he had qualified into FPL and like he played a bunch of faced games with Blame F, and he was like, yeah, he looks like he has very nice mechanics. 17 years old. He gets picked into Young Ninjas, and I think he actually replaced Maxter. He did, because Maxter stayed on Young Ninjas for like half a year. It's easy to forget, before he moved into the main team, even if that felt like kind of locked in. And when he left, ex-Kaspersky came in. Ex-Kaspersky then had to play ESL Pro League right out of the bat because Rez got sick when they already had Blue Phoenix as a stand-in at that point. It was a whole mess. But yeah, he's played a very, very good game. I feel like every single week, he has a good week every week. I feel like he's just putting up really good numbers. He's really impressive. And he has a future in high-level Counter-Strike. But I could also have picked Jokab, who's also an amazing player. Yeah, he is an amazing player as well. I think Jokab also has. It's a shame that he's locked into what is presumably a fairly expensive NIP contract, because he definitely could have improved pretty much any team in Sweden at the moment. But
there's a lot of Swedish teams looking for improvement, to be honest.
All of them.
Yeah, they're all pretty shit. As currently stands.
It is taking a downturn again. The rapid rise of Swedish CS has plummeted once again. But Yeah, Joker could have brought so much to the team, but Kaspersky really stands out to me.
Yeah, so this guy who I always just refer to as Antivirus for obvious reasons, he's been a bit of an odd one because ever since I've seen him on Young Ninjas, I thought, yeah, this guy's clearly decent, but I always think it's Young Ninjas though. Like I'm never that invested. They usually play like they used to usually play like a lot of low level teams, and I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, oh, they beat Alliance. Jokes write themselves. But this week, no, they played like Aurora Youngblood, Amcal, Betboom, even Cybershock, who have been really dangerous in Tier 2. So they've had some legit difficult opponents. So some wins, some losses, but one consistent shining star has been Antivirus. Kaspersky. Jesus, I'm just going to call him Antivirus. No, he's a tidy little player. We've not got an extensive amount of like data or demos on him because he's only been on Young Ninjas. But if all holds true, if this is all legit, yeah, he's another little rocket coming out of Poland. That's going to be interesting to follow.
So that Betboom game, by the way, they win Vertigo and then they play it close. Like they play 13-8 on both of the other maps against Betboom in what is a quarterfinal game, which is pretty big. And Kaspersky is like the only guy putting up positive numbers in this game, which is kind of crazy. Like Betboom is still a big team, so
yeah, still
especially
tough opponents, like difficult names to beat. Like in a heads-up duel, considering that's what he's going to be doing. Like he is going to be the more aggressive player. He is going to take the big volume of fights. You know, he's got a high death rate as well. Yeah. He has to go face-to-face, toe-to-toe with Chiron, with Mananias, with Zorti, with Sirens to a lesser extent, but still, like these guys are tier 1 borderline players.
Yeah, and I mean it's online, but a playoff game is still a playoff game. Like there's still some added pressure. The competition in theory gets better. And compared to Young Ninjas, Betboom is so much better of a team. So taking even just one map of them, that's very impressive.
Yeah, a great week for them.
Yeah.
So that kind of brings up our retake. Wow. We are sub an hour. I mean, I think just a little round of applause, I think. Just a little golf clap, I think, necessary here. Impressive.
I did not think we were going to do that.
Yeah, shout out to my great-grandfather for the binoculars, for the bit. So I could whip him out for this. I don't go exploring that often anymore now that I live in an urban jungle. So funny they get whipped out of their old case that I had lying about. But no, yeah. That's the episode. If you enjoyed it, leave a like if you want to see more sub. If you disagree with us or you're a G2 fan finally raising their head out of the weeds, or pulling them out of the sand would be more appropriate, go nuts. Leave a comment telling us why now we can't judge them because there's this excuse or this excuse. Tell me something secret about Snax' genius that I didn't know. Maybe tell me how his 0.45 KPR was secretly so
much car does he drive?
Yeah, that might be an interesting question as well. Yeah, tell us what car he drives right now.
Yeah. How many hours on PUBG?
All these details that that don't really help G2. But no, that's enough taunting. Let's wrap it up. And yeah, remember, members are better. They get more stuff because, you know, they pay me. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Have a good week. Goodbye.